Even with Sun TV watching for any slip, he was asked which country he most admired and referred to China.
There's a level of admiration I actually have for China because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime and say we need to go green as fast as we need to start investing in solar. I mean, there is a flexibility that I know Stephen Harper must dream about of having a dictatorship that he could do everything he wanted that I find quite interesting.
All right, guys, so we have some bad news, some terrible news that, quite honestly, you just didn't ever think that you would hear about something like this in a Western nation. However, we are hearing about this in a Western nation where a country has basically declared economic warfare on its citizens and have effectively stripped citizens of their civil rights and liberties because the citizens are protesting against the government, right? This is going to a place that I did not think that it would go, and Justin Trudeau has shown himself to be the tyrant that he actually really is. This man is a full-blown dictator, and communism is at the doorstep of Canada, okay? Just north of the American border, we could have a country, right, that basically becomes like China, right, in terms of the restrictions that they're putting on their citizens in regards to their civil rights and liberties, right? I mean, this stuff right here is absolutely insane, okay? It really is. And in my opinion, that's where it's headed, right? We're going to see something maybe similar to how China has tried to crack down on the Hong Kong protests, right? We may see that. We may see the Canadian government decide to use the military. Now, they claim they're not going to, but it seems that with each and every day, they're getting a step closer to doing that, right? But with these so-called emergency powers that have been invoked by Justin Trudeau, they've declared economic warfare on the truckers, okay? What they're trying to do is choke off the truckers' financial resources, going as far as to basically give banks permission to freeze bank accounts associated with these truckers and the freedom protests. Take a look.
As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith. Federal government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers to ensure that we can all work together to put a stop to the funding of these illegal blockades. This is about following the money. This is about stopping the financing of these illegal blockades. We are today serving notice. If your truck is being used in these illegal blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send your semi-trailers home. The Canadian economy needs them to be doing legitimate work, not to be illegally making us all poorer.
You know, guys, I don't see how anybody can hear something like that about a government freezing the financial assets of its citizens because they're simply protesting against the government, right? Freezing their bank accounts, freezing their insurance, okay? Basically trying to choke them economically, okay, to get them to stop protesting against the government. I don't understand how anybody can hear something like this and see something like this and think that this is right? This is what we should be doing as a first world country. But I think what's even more sad, in my opinion, is that Justin Trudeau hasn't even attempted to even, negotiate with the truckers, talk to the truckers, or sit down with them and say, hey, how can we come to a compromise here, right? Because at the end of the day, all these truckers want is for the mandates to be lifted. I mean, you could at least say, hey, you know what, we'll do a mandated test, right? If you test negative, then you're fine. You don't necessarily have to get the vaccine. He's not even offering that, right? He's not even offering that, okay? These guys are not even interested in a middle ground. They just want these truckers to submit and obey, and that's it. And if not, then they will go as far as to overstep their authority, right? Which I think this is clearly them overstepping their authority here. I mean, this right here, I don't know how any so-called civil liberties organizations can support this. Matter of fact, there's a ton of people who are not supporting this, right? That have spoken out against this. Even people in the Canadian government that are running some of these provinces. But again, how can you see something like this and think that this is supposed to be okay? That you declare economic warfare against your own citizens, right? So with that being said, let's actually learn a little bit more about these emergency powers and get a perspective from the truckers in regards to what they think about this. Take a look.
Invoking emergency powers against the truckers who are protesting vaccine mandates. Banks can now freeze their personal accounts, the accounts of anyone linked to the Freedom Convoy. Grady Trimble is live in Ottawa this morning with more on what the truckers have to say about this. Grady, an extraordinary measure by Trudeau.
It is, Maria, by invoking this Emergencies Act, which has never been used before in the law's current form. It gives the federal government sweeping powers, including providing local police with federal law enforcement resources. On top of that, you can see the truckers are still here. It also gives the Canadian banks the ability to freeze bank accounts without a warrant of anyone participating in this road blockade, as well as anybody funding it. And if trucks are blocking the road, they can suspend the insurance of those truckers. On top of that, this will expand the scope of money laundering and terrorist financing laws to include and to cover crowdfunding sites like GiveSendGo, where donations of millions of dollars have been pouring in from all over the world, including the United States, and much of it from Canada. And so GiveSendGo has ignored a court order and provided truckers, they say, with some of the money, but this will now potentially prevent that from happening. I've been talking to the truckers here and asking them, will this change anything for them? You can see in this area, they've grown in numbers, and they tell me that the Emergencies Act won't deter them. When we were talking earlier, you said, I already can't do my job, so, suspending my insurance doesn't do anything.
Nope, as soon as the mandates came in to stop us from crossing the border, I was done, because that's all I do, so it's nothing new to me.
Because you're not vaccinated?
No, I am not. The only thing that's going to convince me to leave is us getting our rights and freedoms back.
And since this convoy started here in Canada, there's been talk of other movements growing across the United States, and now there's reportedly a people's convoy starting in California with plans, Maria, to make its way across the country to the nation's capital, to Washington, D.C. We will see how that plays out, and if they do something similar, we'll also see what this Emergencies Act does to get truckers off of Wellington Street right here in front of the Parliament building. Maria?
All right, guys. So you seen that, you heard that. Now, the truckers are saying that, this is not going to deter them, right? Or at least that one trucker, and I imagine that probably the other ones probably feel the same way about this, okay? But again, you just got to imagine, I mean, the government of Canada is essentially giving banks unlimited jurisdiction to just freeze people's accounts without any type of warrant, without any type of real probable cause, anything like that. Oh, no, we just think you're associated with this. Therefore, we're going to freeze your accounts, right? And they're also, trying to classify certain platforms, like donation platforms like GiveSendGo, as basically terrorist platforms, right? Terrorism financing platforms, okay? And GiveSendGo, again, speaking of them, they've been attacked for this, okay? People have come after them because, remember, they have defied a Canadian judge's order to freeze the funds, to not give the funds to the Freedom Truckers. And GiveSendGo basically said, F you, right? We're going to do what we want to do, right? We're going to do what we got to do. And because of that, they've now come under attack from the cyberspace, right? As they've been hacked. Not only have they been hacked, but the donors' information, people that have actually donated to the Freedom Truckers that support this protest, they've been doxxed, okay? They've been doxxed. So let's actually read about this because, again, it is full-blown economic and financial warfare that is happening right now. American billionaire, Canadian civil servants among donors leaked in GiveSendGo hack. An American tech billionaire, 2 NASA employees, and Canadian civil servants are among a leaked list of nearly 100,000 Freedom Convoy donors, according to information released by hackers responsible for taking down the group's crowdfunding site. Late Sunday night, hackers took down the website of GiveSendGo, the U.S.-based crowdfunding website flocked to by Convoy organizers after GoFundMe canceled their multi-million-dollar campaign earlier this month. The hackers also released a spreadsheet of raw donor data containing names, emails, and dollar amounts of nearly 93,000 individuals who purportedly donated money to the Freedom Convoy. GiveSendGo's website was still offline by late Monday afternoon. On Sunday night, the site's homepage was replaced with GiveSendGo is now frozen in bold blue text, as well as a manifesto scrolling over a clip from the Disney film Frozen 2, depicting Elsa singing "Show Yourself" while riding across the dark sea on a horse made of water. Attention GiveSendGo grifters and hatriots, read the manifesto. The Canadian government has informed you that the money you a-holes raised to fund an insurrection is frozen. The hacker accused Boston-based GiveSendGo of being complicit in funding last year's January 6th raid on the U.S. Capitol by Donald Trump supporters, and likewise funding of ongoing blockades and protests in Ottawa and across Canada. Quote, "You're committed to funding anything that keeps the raging fire of misinformation going until that it burns the world's collective democracies down," the manifesto read. While the hacker didn't identify themselves, an individual claiming responsibility told British news outlet The Guardian they intended to prove Canada isn't immune to foreign political interference. So it sounds like this is coming from outside of Canada, right? So here's the thing. This is what I'm talking about. This is full-blown economic warfare. Not only is the Canadian government freezing the accounts, right, the bank accounts, the insurance of these truckers, right, but you have other people, right, that are operating outside of Canada that are also attacking the donations, right? They're saying, hey, you know what, we're not even going to let people donate money to the truckers, okay? And if you do donate money to the truckers, then you're going to be doxxed. Right? We're going to put your information out there to the public for everybody to see. Again, I've never seen this type of backlash, right? From all fronts. I mean, this is absolutely insane. Right, guys? I mean, I hate to keep bringing this up, but it just the stark comparison in the treatment is just like, you can't help but bring it up. Right? I mean, we literally saw in 2020 a group of people burn cities, police stations. People lost their lives. People died, okay, for months on end. And we never had anything happen like this, right? The government didn't go trying to freeze their accounts, right? I mean, we know that the biggest financial scam in the country was donating to so-called Black Lives Matter initiatives and organizations during 2020, right? We all know that money basically didn't go where it was supposed to go, right? And we all know that money was being used to finance some of these activities that were violent, okay? But you didn't see the government decide to freeze their bank accounts, right? GoFundMe wasn't taking down their pages. You didn't see people hacking into their website to try to dox people that were donating to BLM. Again, I'm not even saying that would be right for them to do that. It would be right for them to do that, right? That wouldn't be right. But again, I find it amazing how you had a violent movement, a movement that had violence, that for whatever reason, these so-called people that are fighting against insurrection, right? These people that are trying to preserve democracy, they had no issues with that. They were totally fine with that. Okay, totally okay with it. But now all of a sudden, these truckers are simply, they're blocking some roads, right? But they're not violent. They're not destroying property. They're not vandalizing anything. They're just simply there. Oh, this is an insurrection. This is an insurrection. We got to freeze their bank accounts. We got to dox anybody that donates money to them. It is absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like this in my life, guys. But the takeaway from this is this, one, this in my opinion is why I think, decentralized finance, cryptocurrency is so important, right? Even though, there's an argument to be made that it's not as decentralized as people think, but damn, it's better than what we currently got now, right? Because I find it would be hard to freeze, funding going to people via, cryptocurrency and stuff like that. Obviously, there's work that needs to be done there, but again, that's the importance of having something like that, decentralized finance, okay? And then two, freedom is an illusion, right? The government, it has become clear, at the very least in Canada, and this probably applies in the U.S. too, that this idea of freedom is only something that we have because the government lets us believe that. But at any time, the government can say, no, you don't have freedom, okay? And that you have to do what we tell you to do, or else, we're going to freeze your bank accounts. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to take away your civil liberties, right? So again, I want people to understand, at this current juncture, right, in 2022, it seems that freedom, right, that the right and civil liberties that are supposed to be acknowledged by some of these founding state documents is an illusion, right? It doesn't really mean anything if all of a sudden the government decides that, hey, we just want to crack down on people who are protesting against us, and we're going to take away their rights and freedoms that are granted to them in order to do it, right? Because in Canada, like the U.S., you're supposed to have the right to peaceful protest, right, and assembly, but apparently you don't, especially if it's for the wrong cause, right? If you're protesting against the wrong thing, okay, then you don't have the right to peaceful assembly and protest. But if you're a protester in the right thing, right, something silly like, I don't know, racism or something abstract, okay, then apparently you have the right to protest. Not only do you have the right to protest, it doesn't even have to be peaceful. That has become clear, right? That has become very, very, very clear just watching this situation unfold. Again, it's some scary stuff, man. It's some scary stuff, and it's a damn shame that anybody should be supporting this type of stuff, right? These type of actions from the government, okay, against its own people. It's crazy. This is a first world country. Canada is supposed to be a civilized country. This is not what civilized countries do. Again, this is what China does, right? Canada has essentially become China, right, in North America. That's what they become. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.